Hello again, everyone. It's your host, Miss Dylan here with Draw From Home. So today, guys, what we're going to do is we're going to build off what we learned from the gem lesson and learn how to make three-dimensional letters. So if you're thinking about block letters, so if you've ever done like bubble letters before, so let's just do like L. So L. That's a block letter L. Okay? So basically with block letters, if you've never done them before, it's basically taking angles of the letter itself and basically kind of making it its own shape, if that makes sense. So first things first is I'm going to do my name. So I'm going to do Kelly, my first name. If you want to do another word, that's totally fine. You can do love, you can do family, you can do penguins, you can do whatever you want. It doesn't matter too much. So, first things first, you gotta learn how to actually do block letters. So, some of you guys already know, but if you don't, let's go ahead and do a couple different examples. So, let's do V. So here's just a regular old V. Okay. And then let's do an O, because sometimes with the circular letters, they can be a little harder to do block letters out of, because they don't have angles, whereas the V has all these sharp angles, right? So, let's do these two. Alright, so to make these into block letters, what we're going to do, we're going to take the V, do this is our diagonal line, just like a regular old V, but this time what we're going to do is we're going to find sort of these sharper planes. So the V has this sort of sharpness to it, so the V like that. Instead, we're going to make it flat. So think about taking all of these sharper edges, so the V here, and turning it into a flat line. Okay? And then we're going to extend like that. Okay? And then all you're going to do is just kind of close off this shape. So we're going to go line here, going to go down, line here, going to go up, kind of like that. I would probably, you know what, I would actually go ahead and do sort of a sharpness in here, like that. And that's how you get a bubble letter V. Okay, an easier way to do it, or I guess not even an easier way, if you want to do it like this, so if you just want to like draw the V like that, and then on the outside kind of make these lines, tie a line here like that, you can do that. Okay, now if you really don't like how that looks, if it's just kind of confusing to you, because I know obviously there's quite a lot of letters with this sort of sharpness to it, don't worry too much about it. So, for example, if you just want to make this regular old V bubble letter, so we have a V here. So you're going to do your straight lines, going like this, like that. That's totally fine too. It's really up to you. Okay? But that's at least how you make a bubble letter, or a block letter. Kind of the same. Bubble letters just kind of have more bubbly, softer, rounder edges. But for our purposes today, we are going to use block letters, so these nice sharp edges. So if you need to, go ahead and grab a ruler to get these straight lines, and make sure when you are doing this, do not do bubble letters. So like, you do not want, so if we did our V here, like I just did, you do not want this sort of softness to your edges, because we're going to have to use these corners like we did with our gemstones the other day. Okay, so you do not do bubble letters. So, what we're going to do here for the O, it's a little harder. I mean, to make it a block letter, not harder, but with our angles, it's a little difficult. All you're going to do to make this a block letter is put another smaller O in the center. Almost like it's going to look like a Cheerio or a Fruit Loop or something. Okay? So that's kind of an example there on how to actually make block letters. So for some harder ones, let's do K. So K for my letter of my first name. So to make K this, think of each line like a rectangle, like its own shape. So if we're doing the K on the side here, right? So we're doing this part. You're gonna do the straight lines going across, straight line down. So there's one rectangle, one long rectangle to make this part of the K. All right, and then for the other K, so you got K here, so I'm sure you've realized by now, but what we're gonna do this angle here, and then connect it, angle here, and connect it, and then we can erase these lines. So something like that. It's not perfect, but you know, you can play around with it. Now, keep in mind as you're making your bubble letters, try to have each angle, so each horizontal line, so you know, straight across, left to right, and each vertical, so up and down, be the same angle. Meaning, do you guys see how my horizontal lines on top of my K and below are the same? So they're kind of all flat. They're not kind of like going like this, or you know, like this. We do not want that. Okay, so just make it easy on you. Do the same angle. All right, just like that. That's all you need to do. The same thing with your any other letter you're gonna do. Okay. So now that we have that out of the way, we're actually gonna learn how to make them look three-dimensional. So I was gonna do my name, but I think if you're still not kind of comfortable with how this is turning out, if you're not comfortable with figuring out how to do your own name in block letters or what have you, that's okay. You know what? Let me go ahead and let me see. If you want to go ahead and look at this real fast and just pause the video, this is a good guide of what block letters can look like. So, you know, see what the K just did. Notice how each, oh, way too big of a pen there. Notice how each, you know, angle is straight. So go ahead, pause the video. If you need this for a guideline, if you want to go ahead and sketch out your name or whatever letter that you want. And make sure when you are sketching out your letters that you have quite a lot of space in between them. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna do prep. So if you're not comfortable doing it by yourself or figuring out how to do each letter, that's fine. Make sure that you have room, quite a lot of room in between each letter. Because when you go ahead and do them bubble letters, they're gonna be much bigger, okay? So they're gonna be kind of big. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do prep. Now I'm gonna go ahead to make this a little easier on myself. I'm gonna go in with my ruler tool. So again, if you have a ruler, this would be the best time to use it. So prep, go here, straight line. So again, the straight lines for our P, and then we're gonna go ahead, a little too big. So something like this. There's sort of our P shape. Okay, so if we're thinking about an uppercase P, like that. If you need to, what can help? If you want to grab another piece of paper and like physically just draw out, just like a reminder of what the actual shape looks like, and then do your block letter on here. You can do that too. Kind of just a reminder of what, because you know, while you're drawing them, the letters kind of, and it's a sort of artistic style, you kind of forget like what an actual P looks like, you know, right? But you know, making this is much different than making this. Okay, and then to make this three-dimensional, all we're gonna do is do the inside, just like that, because otherwise, you see, you have this gap of the P inside, of course, because otherwise it's gonna look a little funny. Now notice when I'm doing my P, I'm doing this part a straight line, If you do it circular, it looks a little funny. Okay, it looks a little odd. So make sure that you're doing a straight line on the left side. Okay, so we got our bubble letter P right there. Not bubble, black letter, excuse me. Now we're gonna go ahead and do the R, okay? I'm just gonna do all of these uppercase. I know that might look a little weird, almost like it's screaming at you, but it's alright. So again, we're gonna go ahead and do, let me use my rulers. We're gonna go ahead and do long left side for our R. Do sort of the base here, like that. We're going to do the big curve on top for our, so remember the R, uppercase R looks like that. So now we're going to do that big curve. I'm going to stop right about here, okay? Because we need room for the R slant here, right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead with our ruler. I'm going to have to make my page a little bigger, but... So this is a diagonal line right here. But then we're going to go ahead and do a straight line here. And then another diagonal and connect these two. So something like that. Okay. And then if you need to, once you kind of connect everything, if you need to fix anything, so let's say, go ahead and do the inside too. So just like we did the P. Like that. Okay. Now, I think the... No, I think that's okay. I'm going to make this a little smaller, I think. So like that. So we got P, R, and we're going to do E. E's kind of easier because it doesn't have those, you know, these curving lines, which can kind of trip you up a little bit as you're drawing, especially with the block letters, because obviously, you know, blocks are not, you know, they don't have curves to them. So again, starting with the same, you'll notice in quite a lot of letters they start with a long vertical line on the side. And then with E, all we're going to do is, again, thinking of all these horizontal lines of the E, I'm going to make that a little longer, I think, as rectangles, okay? So I've got E here, and then we're going to do the center E. So you see these rectangles coming in, and then as you finish, you'll find the actual E shape. So like that. Like that. All right. Now, obviously, I've run out of room on my paper here. I'll go ahead and fix that real fast. If that happens to you and you're in your home, because again, sometimes when you're making the block letters, they can turn out really big. What you can do is, I'm going to fix this real fast, is one, you can erase and start over. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, you just saw me mess up, so it happens to all of us, like I've mentioned before. Mistakes are common in art, but that's a part of the learning process. It's a part of the drawing process. Mistakes will always happen. But if you don't want to start over, just take another piece of paper and just kind of place it underneath your original. And if you have tape, you can do that. If you have glue, you can glue them together. It's really up to you. Let's see. Image resolution, canvas size. Let's make this a little bigger. Oh. Hold on. These aren't computers. Okay. Make this bigger here. And then let's go ahead with our original color. And then obviously I'm going to do another P for prep. So let's see. Into here. Oh, that's not right. There we go. Okay. So I'm just going to do another P over here. And as you're doing this, try to make each letter the same size. It is hard. I'm not going to lie to you. It is very difficult to get them all the same, especially if this is your first time doing block letters like this. This is definitely not my sort of finesse here, but it's a good skill to know, especially like, you know, for school projects, for creative stuff that you're doing at home. If you want a little bit of flash, like if you're writing your name or something, or like a project title, this is always a good skill to know, doing these kind of cool letters. And you could sort of have a little bit of creativity in your project or what have you. There's another P. We're gonna go ahead and fix it up a little bit. So now that we have our word, let's go ahead and just kind of fix up any glaring mistakes that we have here. So I'm gonna go ahead and go in with a bigger pen here, or pencil, I guess. Just kind of fix up anything that I don't really like. So I'm just gonna fix this curve here. While I'm doing this, look at yours. You don't have to just watch me do this. Look at yours and see if there's anything else that you want to fix. So I'm gonna make this a little rounder, a little smoother, I think. I'm gonna make this P a little bigger, actually. Now what you'll have to do for that yourself is just kind of redraw it. I'm just gonna scale this up a little bit. Just something like that. And then I'm gonna move this P over here a little bit more. So something like this. So yeah, I kinda like this. Okay. So now for the fun part. What we're gonna go ahead and do is make this 3D. So I'm gonna crop this a little bit. We're gonna make this 3D. So, just like we did with our gemstones last week, we're gonna find the angles to our letters here. So if you remember with the gemstones, when we made the sort of shapes like this, we found where the corners were, so the different angles, and then we did sort of the lines, right? So what we're gonna do here, the same thing. Now first things first, you're gonna figure out where your letters are kind of popping out from. And what that basically means is, are they popping out to the left or are they popping out to the right? Now that sounds kind of weird, but just kind of hold on for me. For our example, we're gonna have them pop out from the left, okay? So what that means is we're gonna go, just hold on for me. We're gonna go on the right corners only, okay? So we're only using those corners. Okay, so what that means, I mean more or less. So at least start off with the right corners. So what you're gonna do is make a diagonal line up. Okay. And then let's go ahead and then when you have at least one diagonal, what you do is go up like this and connect it like that. Okay. Now one more again, what we're gonna go ahead and do. Right, let's go to this corner here. Slight diagonal up like that. And then let's go ahead. Now the curves are definitely the hardest part, because with this I just had to do a straight line. But for this, we're just gonna go ahead and we're gonna connect it like that. Okay? See how that kind of works? I'm kind of curving it into the top of my P like that. Now this will take you a couple tries to make it look good. But as you're doing this, make sure that you're doing the same diagonal line. So this is my diagonal. I'm not going to do a diagonal that's pointing this way up, because you see how that's different, a different angle than this one was? It's too vertical. So make sure that you're doing the same one, okay, like that. And if it helps, what you can do before you connect them, you can just do diagonal lines where they need to go. So diagonal line here, like that, okay? So go ahead and just kind of find that real fast. And if you need a guideline, here's a good one. This is coming from, so you see how this is coming out from the right? It's like popping out to the right. Ours is going to the left. Well, because I have this now, let's go ahead and use ours from the right then. We're just going to go ahead and make a little. Let's see. Let's go to change the canvas size, make this a little bit over here. Wonderful, excellent. Sorry if this is a little scattered. It's definitely not something I'm used to doing, but it's a good skill to have. Okay, so what we'll do, again, we'll start from here. Okay, we've got our P here. And then we have a P corner here, like that. So you see those two corners? So again, find your left. So now that we're doing it popping out from the right, I apologize for that confusion there. We're going to do the leftmost corners. So we're ignoring this one. We're not doing that one anymore. We are doing this one, going up, okay? And then we're going to connect them. Voila. And now what we're going to do to do the top here is just the same way that we just did it. It's going to connect it from this corner. Just kind of pull it in like that. Now see how that's starting to look kind of 3D-ish? Now for the inside, it's a little easy-ish. So what we're going to do is basically just kind of make almost like an inside line. Like that. Now see how that works? Now you're kind of having that sort of idea of three-dimensionality. So again, just kind of doing an inside line like that. Curving with the outside curve of the P there. Just like that. Okay? So same thing we're going to do is we're going to do our diagonal line. We're going to find every leftmost corner of our letter. Okay? So if I can kind of highlight them, so this is a left corner, this is a left corner, and this is one. Okay? These guys are not, so I'm going to go in with green and do an X. These are not, those are right corners, if that makes sense. Okay? So, diagonal line. And make sure these diagonal lines are the same angle that you did with the P. Okay, so don't make them like this way or this way. Okay? Same angle. Same angle. Just like that. Okay? Now you'll notice with some of your letters, so this is a little bit more cramped because it's closer to this slant of the L. That's okay. Don't worry too much about it. Don't change the angle of your diagonal just to make things fit. This still fits, this is a little bit more cramped. Okay? And then what we're going to do with this R, like this, kind of connect it like that. Okay? Now, yeah, that should be okay. And then just like we did at the top P, you'll notice that a lot of letters have very, similarities. A lot of similarities because the P, it's just, if you add an R is just a P with an extra little thing right here. Okay? So it's basically just making the P again, but having the sort of extra shape here. And then now that I'm looking at this, what I'm going to do, and you can feel free to do this too, but I'm going to kind of erase this. And you remember in the beginning where I said kind of the V shape? We kind of have that here. I'm going to make this more like this, I think. So we have a little bit more room to have more of a straight line. Okay? So again, going with my diagonal. And you don't have to do that, but I like how this will look a little bit more. It's up to you. And then doing a line there. Okay? So we got our 3DP here. So same thing with the E. So leftmost corners, got a corner here, got a corner here. Okay. And now we're going to connect these. Now with the E, you're noticing, okay, well, what am I supposed to do with everything else? So we're going to start going to our other corners with our E. Okay. So if you'll notice with the tops, we're doing this sort of top plane. You're finally going to go to a rightmost corner. So we're going to go with this one. Okay? So the corners on top is what we're going to do now. So do a diagonal line there, then connect. Alright? So the corner's on top. So this is a top corner now. Not this one. We're ignoring the bottom corners. So diagonal line, connect. Oh, connect. Diagonal line, connect. Just like that. So the E is kind of like, honestly, I think the E is my favorite one to do because you have all these sort of cool rectangular 3D shapes that you do. And then we have our P again. And we've already done the P. So diagonal line, connect. And then, oh, we forgot to do the R inside. There we go. Alright, there we go. And then we're going to connect this with the P, kind of curving it around until it kind of almost merges in with the original P shape there. and then the inside P. Look at that. We got our 3D letters. So now that you have that, and if you need to pause the video to catch up with me, no worries. We're just gonna, just like usual, we're gonna clean up our sketch. And I mean, pretty much that's it. There's no, I mean, obviously color's excellent, but for this lesson in particular, color isn't particularly required. I will do another example real fast so you can see my name. Let's go ahead and do our school colors. So let's go ahead and do. Now, one thing you can do if you are going to color this, so I'll just do this in all blue, so it's a little easier for our eyes real fast. One thing you can do is, because when you're coloring, if you notice, I just colored in the original sort of shapes of the letters. You can color in the planes of the three-dimensional boxes that we did a darker color, so it looks like even more 3D, because it's kind of in the background almost. It's kind of coming out from the background, if that makes sense. So there's not as much light hitting it. So to kind of push even more that three-dimensional idea, you can make them a darker shade, like that. Okay? Just like that. Okay? I'm gonna add a little bit more. We'll go ahead and add our red too. Yeah, I like that. I like that. And then go in with a darker red here. Just like that. Perfect. Okay. So now that we have that example done, you can go ahead and do this with any letter. Okay? So if we did, I'm just gonna do, let's do love. How about that? So L. L's pretty easy. A lot of blocks to it. Yeah, O. And the center O. It's more of a oval, but you get it. We got our V. Sorry, I got distracted with something. And then here. And then our E might be a little tiny. Oh no, that's fine. As long as these guys can see it. And I'm gonna go ahead at the end of the video, I'm just gonna like leave that guideline of what the different block letters look like, so you can pause the video and kind of look at them yourself and see, okay, how to do each letter, because I'm not going to go through and do each single letter and how to do a block letter, right, and how to do them three-dimensional, because that would take forever, and you guys are smart enough to figure that out on your own, which is kind of the challenge here, honestly. So again, doing our ones here on the side, and then we're going to do our topmost corner, so topmost corner, connect, topmost corner, connect. Alright, just like that. Do that a little, I'm going to do that a little bigger. So topmost corner, connect. Okay, now for the O, it was a little weird, right? Because it doesn't have any corners at all. So what you're going to kind of do is just kind of like make up corners almost, to like know where they're going to merge. So like it's going to be like here, and kind of like here, and then kind of connect it like that. Kind of like that. And then you can like round off any corners that seem too sharp. And then the inside O. Do a little bit more. Yeah, there you go. So again, same thing with the V. So we're going to do our leftmost corners here. Left, left, left. Connect, connect. And then our topmost here. Connect. Here, connect. One more, and we've done the E again. Our good friend E. Gonna connect like this. Topmost corner, topmost corner, topmost corner. Voila! Look at that. Okay. So You are free to use this new skill as you see fit. Okay, it's kind of cool without the black lines. So let me go ahead. So now that you know this, you can do this with whatever you want, your name, a phrase, what have you. And I'm gonna go ahead and keep this up for about a minute. Well, not even a minute. I mean, you could pause it right now and, you know, look at this. So again, make sure as you're drawing, start with the leftmost corners first. So I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of highlight these guys here. Leftmost, 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 so etc. And then go ahead, and not all letters, like we've seen before, not all letters will have that sort of topmost corner, like the P's and the R's that we did, because they have sort of that lovely curve at the top. But you know, for the K's or the E's, look for that topmost corner, okay? And that will be it for today. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed yourself. I'll be coming out with another video on Friday. So again, if you need to go ahead and use this guideline while you're drawing your own stuff, keep in mind where corners should be. I'm going to go ahead and have this at the end of my video right now. Alright, so feel free to pause the video, use this as a guide to see where you should put your diagonal lines. Alright, I'll see you guys next time. Hope everything's going well. Bye!